Welcome back, Officers of the Republic. It's your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief, APGAINS here, and we've had official Mara Jade testing, and by official, I mean a bunch of people throughout the community have tested it, many streamers, many non-streamers, and we've been able to compile some information. Is Mara Jade good? Is Mara Jade bad? I think a lot of you guys already realize that Mara Jade is very good. She's a fantastic character, and she brings down some Galactic schmelegends. Also, with her territory war Omicron, gas doesn't really exist anymore. Gas is basically a chump. Let's break it down for you guys. Before we do, we're trying to get 15,000 subscribers. When we do, we will go to Capital Games headquarters, steal their one laptop, take control of the entire game, and give every player one cup shot. If that's something you guys want, make sure you guys subscribe. So, we're going to be hopping on to Fatal's video, aka the PLayBook. I will have a link to this video down in the description. Fatal always has really good information about mods, about counters, about how these teams work. High-end information for a lot of you guys who are at the max level of the game. So if you guys want this amazing information, make sure you go over to his channel. Subscribe. Always pay attention when a new character comes out because he grinds out day one testing. And you guys are going to want to have this information. So basically what we know, I've talked to some other people. This is just probably the best video to explain it for you visually. Fatal does a great job. You know, we could have already beaten JML teams with EP. It was kind of sketch. But Mara Jade's ability to work really well under EP lead really control the team in the ways that the EP and the Vader and the Watt and the Treya couldn't before is also very nice. The shocks are super helpful. He actually makes a fantastic point about a lot of people are oftentimes tempted to do the cool ability as opposed to the smart ability. You know, he uses the example of throwing up the AoE shock or the AoE stun as opposed to the basic shock, which would give some more turn meter over to Palpatine. So this is one of those teams where you are going to have to avoid that temptation of always going for the big flashy, you know, if it was Starkiller sucking the Star Destroyer down or whatever it may be. You're going to have to avoid the big flashy for the smart and rational play. Now, is this a huge revelation that EP can still beat JML? No, not really. But it is nice to have a more consistent counter. You know, now that banners don't really matter and it's all literally just about can I win each and every matchup in territory wars, especially in GAC, now that the crystals are there, is going to be incredibly important. Just having a more consistent counter to this classic JML, Jedi Knight, Luke Gas, Revan, and Hoda lineup. A lot of people can move in and out Hoda, maybe for some other characters. This is under JML lead, not any of those crazy comps that we used to see in the past to increase tenacity and stuff like that. But since we do have an AoE tenacity down is just, as you can see here, I mean, 9 debuffs on Hoda, 14 debuffs on Jedi Knight Luke. We got 7. Yeah, we're up to 16, 19 on JML, 16 on Gas. These are getting back up to the numbers that we're used to seeing where Darth Vader can actually throw down, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of damage with crazy hits. Of course, it's not going to go against JML because JML is, you know, one thick-ass boy. But nevertheless, we're going to be able to see, you know, if, you know, Revan just had crit immunity, but, you know, with some big hits, we will see some absolute annihilation from Vader, but also just because there's so much turn meter gain, so much control, so much shock, so much stuns, lots of tenacity down, ability blocks on all Jedi because of Darth Vader's Merciless Massacre, allowing him to attack everyone in his basic automatically ability blocking all Jedi. Treya can put down Isolate, which is super helpful. Also has a Daze and ability block. This team is really, really well constructed with Mara Jade in there to kind of make up for a lot of the holes. Here he just talks about how, you know, it's more sketchy against Sith Eternal Emperor. If you guys care about the not so good Sith Eternal Emperor squad, make sure you do actually go watch that video. But so what the team lacked, you know, a little bit more shocks. I guess we didn't even know we needed the vulnerable, some ability blocks and stuff like that. Mara Jade more than makes up for filling all of the holes. I feel like the developers did a good job of saying, you know what, we want this team to be a high-end team. Now that we're adding Omicrons, we're adding more characters. We want there to be more and more really quality-sized teams, lots of teams that can compete. I think they actually made this character in mind of, I think Galactic Legend counters are back. I think they're going to be adding enough characters, and she is a requirement for Starkiller. Starkiller is going to be like a $2,000 character. I think non-GL, GL counters are back. I think they just needed to take time to tweak the game a little bit, make sure that some kits are up to stuff so they can push out Omicron, so they can push us out. Because what do we see with Boba? Boba by the developers intended to be a territory war Galactic Legend killer. I imagine Mara Jade's going to absolutely poop on gas with the protection down. You know what I'm saying? With the 100% protection reduction and stuff like that in territory wars. But I think they're actually opening the design space up to add characters who can counter Galactic Legends. I don't think Galactic Legends are going to be that amazing end-all be-all that we're used to them being, and they have become more of over time as reworks have come out. Everyone likes to say the great nerf of 2021 happened to a lot of Galactic Legend counters. I think they just took out the old Galactic Legend counters, and they're going to start pumping in new marquee characters with Omicrons, or even without Omicrons, to fill that void. We have a lot of teams that have been missing that crucial fifth person, and Mara Jade plugging into that EP team. Now, do we still know the best Mara Jade EP lineup? They're still doing some testing. I would wait a couple of days before I go too gung-ho, before I wail on this character, before I take her up to relics, especially before I apply an Omicron, since it's a territory where Omicron and a GAC Omicron. But I mean, the go-to squad is probably never going to exist because counters are always changing, especially since all of the testing happens at the end game where everyone has everything maxed out anyway. You're never going to see the exact same JML lineup, the same City Eternal Emperor lineup, the same. Well, you're going to see the same Gas lineup, of course, if he's on a 501st team, because there's not a lot of variance there, unless someone is an idiot and throws in like a Sokatano or something like that, like they like to do in Conquest. But it's always evolving. It's always going to be a little bit different in that counter space at the end game, because no defense is going to be the same and no offense is ever going to be the same, because you never know if you didn't have Vader for whatever reason. So now you can't do the massive ability blocks and all the dots and the big damage. So maybe you're not going up against JML, but maybe there's another counter that opens up where you can go EP, Mara Jade, Thrawn, Shore Trooper, and I don't know, like a random Imperial Remnant or Imperial Trooper in there somewhere, some random Empire character. And it takes out, Night Sisters or some random defensive squad, but it counters it really well. That's going to be the design space that we're going to be looking for once GAC starts, because we can do all the squad arena testing in the world against the perfect JML teams. But how likely is it you're going to see an exact perfect JML team that Mara Jade counters on defense, knowing that your opponent's going to have a Mara Jade EP Vader lineup? Like, why would you do that? That's like having Imperial Troopers or City Eternal Emperor and placing them on defense, and like knowing your opponent can perfectly counter them and still doing it anyway. So I'm excited to see once GAC drops how this character is going to perform under different offenses and different defenses. But that's all I got for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I've been APGAINS as always. I love you. Shout out to my 6%. We're not at 8 minutes yet, but 6% usually hangs out around 8 minutes. 6% is your prompt for today. If you ruled the world for 5 minutes, what could you realistically accomplish? If you could just say something and people would do it, what would you do with 5 minutes of total world domination? I'm eager to see what you guys say, and I'll see you guys later.